again, delivering on my promises a few months late. As one does. Hey guys, it's Julia. Welcome back to my channel. So today's video is something that I asked you guys if you wanted to see months ago. Y'all said yes, and then I proceeded to not make the video. You know.
She's a disgrace to humanity.
Today's video is going to be about products that I've changed my mind on, either for the better or for the worse. It might be a product that I just didn't like when I first tried it out, but over time I've kind of grown to like it a bit more, or something more commonly that I liked at first and then now I'm not as fond of. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I already did this video about a year ago, but I figured an updated version would be a good time to do. Full details of this look should already be on Instagram. Very pastel, very like selling my bathwater, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. Without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off with probably the biggest transition of my year, I started loving ColourPop Super Shocks again. Obviously, we all know I'm the cult leader that worships Ritz Super Shock, but I have gotten a lot more into using these as just like single shades, and I am not somebody who uses singles unless they're very, very like unique. Otherwise, I just would rather go for a palette. But basically, my story with the Super Shocks is I tried them out for the first time when I was like first getting into ColourPop as a brand. I think Weenie was actually like the first shade I ever bought. And also back then ColourPop didn't have like eyeshadow palettes, so this was the only way to try out eyeshadows from them. And I didn't love them. I don't really like the matte Super Shocks anyways still today, but the shimmers I just wasn't using as much. And then I started focusing more on getting unique shades that added something to my collection that I couldn't find in the palettes. So for example, I don't have any like fluorescent duochrome pink shades like Slave to Pink. Focusing on getting Super Shocks that were really like unique topper type shades, or anything I could put on my lid and have a very unique effect going on. Once I started focusing on those shades that they offered, I have really started loving these a lot, and they're so easy. The texture is amazing. I love the formula of these, and I will forever love Super Shocks now, especially my baby. So these are the biggest like product that I changed my mind on, and I'm very glad that I did. Product that I've changed my mind on for the worse is the Nabla Close-Up Stay Full Smooth Concealer. What? That's okay.
What's that? I don't know, but you know, I'm so creative like that.
Nabla Close-Up Concealer. This is something that I was very excited about because Nabla is one of my favorite brands, and I really like this initially. It's a very full coverage concealer. Obviously they're duping like Tarte Shape Tape with the packaging and everything, but like again, the formula is pretty similar in that it is very full coverage. I thought this looked beautiful, but I would usually use this one whenever I was filming, and I do film with like a window in front of me, so I do use kind of like filtered natural light, and then I have a ring light as well. This does not look good in natural lighting, and I didn't know that, but I walk to class outdoors, and ever since I started going to UCLA, I do take like selfies outside in natural lighting, and I've gotten to see just how craggly certain makeup products look on me. Natural light is a revealing bitch, and she will tell you things you did not want to know about yourself. What natural light told me is that this concealer does not look good on me in the sunshine. I think this looks beautiful under studio lights and has a really like smoothed out effect, but I just don't like how this one sits on my skin when I can see it in like full blast of the sunshine. So it's like not my favorite concealer. I do think it's okay. It was never really like my favorite concealer, but I did think it was good, and now I just don't like the way it looks on me. I've always really liked Sugarpill's bright eyeshadows. I think their mattes are one of the best colorful eyeshadow formulas, but they are expensive, and for a while I think I was just really diehard on the train of trying to justify my purchase of these, and I would say like Sugarpill's bright eyeshadows are the best colorful mattes ever. If you are going to do any types of creative looks, you need Sugarpill eyeshadows. I don't think that's true anymore. I think there are plenty of like rainbow or even just like brighter matte formulas that are just as good, if not better than this. And honestly, I think the James Charles palette is really good. That's like one of my go-tos for like doing rainbow eye looks. I think there are a lot better affordable options, and you don't need to spend $120 on a custom Sugarpill palette to get good colorful eyeshadows. I don't know what I was thinking. I feel like a lot of the time like luxury makeup buyers use over-exaggeration about the quality of those makeup items to justify the feelings that they have about spending that amount of money. That's something I've really noticed with like very expensive makeup. Natasha Denona eyeshadow stands, or Pat McGrath eyeshadow stands, or like Viseart. I feel like people like get really defensive about loving those a lot because they're so expensive. There's nothing wrong with splurging, but I don't think that we should overstate how good a makeup item is just because we spend a ton of money on it, if that makes sense. Those are my revised thoughts on the Sugarpill formula. formula. I do think it's still like really, really nice colorful eyeshadows, but I don't think it's the end all be all of colorful eyeshadow. The Pacifica Light Foundation, I'm just no longer vibing with this one, and I really, really liked this one at first when I tried it out. I still do like how this one applies. I think it looks beautiful on the skin when you freshly blend it out. My problem with this is how it wears and how it transfers. It's the most like non-setty downy foundation I've ever tried. Basically, I can like rest my hand like this. I could like lightly dab my forehead and I would get like literal foundation transfer that you can see on my face but also see on my hand. It's like just not a very elegantly wearing foundation. It doesn't last super long, and I feel like I have a lot of other dewy foundations that look very similar to this one on application but last a lot better and transfer a lot less severely. Honestly, I do think that this looks very similar to the Anastasia Beverly Hills Luminous Foundation, but that one, I feel like while it does sometimes transfer onto my clothing, I can't see the transfer on my face. Like I won't see like a line of foundation where my like shirt collar caught it, whereas this one I'll see like literal line of demarcation on my forehead where the foundation came off, and that's not cute. But no amount of setting powder and no amount of like primer or setting spray would get this one to not transfer on me. So yeah, changed my mind. This is actually the one that inspired this video in the first place, the Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector. This, I did not like this at all. I also think I probably just did not have the type of skin that needed color correction in the first place, but the first couple times I used this, I think I was probably using way too much, and I just felt like it added this extra layer of kickiness to my under eyes that was so unnecessary and didn't really do anything to make my under eyes look better. But Samantha Robindahl loves this, and I love Samantha Robindahl, so naturally I decided to give this a second chance. I think I tried this one in a Get Ready With Me like at the end of last year, and I was just blown away with how like non-tired I looked for the first time in months because my sleep schedule was fucked. Really, really nice, and it didn't add this like extra like really thick layer. Even though it was going underneath my concealer and adding an extra layer of product, I felt like it still looked very seamless and just like brightened and natural and beautiful and glowy. So I've been using this very recently. It does smell like Play-Doh. I don't like the way it smells, but also I'm not like sticking my nose in my under eye corrector all the time. It's just minor gripe, and I just think it's a really lovely texture color corrector. So I'm glad that Samantha Robindahl basically bullied me into trying this again. Changing my mind on this for the better. So Fourth Ray Beauty has a lot of products I really do enjoy, and a lot of products I feel very either like or meh about. The Face Milks, which is like one of the biggest lines in their collection, are something I felt very meh about. The first thing I actually ever tried from Fourth Ray Beauty was the Watermelon Face Milk, and this was kind of something that put me off of trying the brand as a whole because I really just didn't see anything happening with my skin. It's supposed to be something that you use like right after serum as a kind of like a moisturizer, but for me, because I have dry skin, it's not enough of a moisturizer, so it just felt like a kind of like post serum, like after serum that didn't really do enough to like help my skin. I think if you do have oily skin, you could probably get away with using just this as your moisturizer, but for me, I need like a good actual like hydrating cream. So these kind of felt purposeless to me. I have the watermelon one, and then once I got onto ColourPop's PR list, they started sending me more face milks, and I was like, you know what, I'll try a few of them. So with me, I have the watermelon, the papaya, and the acai, and then I have the avocado one in my dorm room right now. I really have started enjoying these actually. So I don't use them as part of my morning or my nighttime skincare routine. I more so use them in like the middle of the day when I've taken off my makeup but I'm not ready to do my nighttime skincare routine yet. After my last class of the day, which is usually either around 3 p.m. or 5 p.m. if it's a Tuesday or Thursday, I'll take my makeup off immediately after class because that's the culture here. Take my makeup off immediately after class, cleansing, a little bit of toning, and then I don't want to like go straight in with like my AHAs and my nighttime products because it's not nighttime yet. I'll do that later on. But I also don't want to have makeup on when I go to the gym, so I'll just like take my makeup off, do a little bit of like a midday skincare routine, and then pop this on as kind of like my light serum slash moisturizer, and I love them. They really, really do a nice job of like keeping my skin hydrated and feeling very fresh on the face without like interfering with my nighttime and my daytime skincare routines, because those are like so set in stone for me that I really don't like adding in things willy-nilly. So that is how I use these. They're just very pleasant, feel very like fresh and light on the skin, and I feel like my hydration problems have gotten a lot less bad because I've been like integrating an actual like midday skincare routine as well, which might be excessive for some people, but that's how I've been using these. I think they're nice, and if you're gonna get one of them, I would recommend the acai or the avocado. Those are my two favorites. All right, two products from Hourglass that I have a complicated relationship with. Number one, the Veil Mineral Primer. This used to be like my favorite primer. Probably because I didn't really own a ton of primers back then, but this I used to really love. It's not my favorite anymore. I don't know. I think I tried it after like a long period of not having used it for a while, and my expectations were very high because I remembered loving this primer a lot. And somewhere along the way, it either just like stopped working the same on my skin, probably because I've gotten a lot drier, or maybe it just was never that good in the first place. But I feel like it's a very mediocre primer for the amount of money that you're paying, which is a lot because it's Hourglass. I think there are better smoothing primers out there. This has a very like slippy kind of dimethicone feel to it, which I can appreciate. I like a little bit of a silicone primer to feel smoothed down, but I feel like Tatcha Silk Canvas does a much better job of creating a very smooth appearance, and that has like a lot better ingredients in there. This I just feel like is very overrated and very overpriced for what it is, which is a basic smoothing silicone primer. And then the Vanish Stick Foundation I've had the most complicated relationship with. I went from this being my holy grail foundation to absolutely hating it once my skin got very dry. And now I'm like back at a place where I'm like, I don't love this and I'm not going to repurchase it, but as I've been trying to use it up, I found a way to use it that I don't completely hate. So I always thought cream foundations like this, you have to use them with a brush. I just like don't see people using stick foundations with a sponge usually. People usually like do it with a brush because you need a thicker brush to kind of help blend out a more occlusive foundation. One day I was just like, I'm gonna try out using a sponge. And I think it looks really nice with the sponge. A sponge really helps to soak up a little bit of the excess like coverage and product that's going to sit on top of my skin. So I feel like it just like helps push it in a little bit more and meld with my natural skin. It is still a little bit too dry for me, so throughout the day I feel like I can look a little bit craggly and I might need a bit of a refresh. So if you're like me and you've been having problems with this foundation like not sitting the best on your skin, and you've been using a brush to apply it, I would say try and use a sponge, and if that doesn't work, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not going to repurchase this still. It's not my favorite foundation, but I'm glad that I found a way to use it up in a way that I don't absolutely despise it, because I did spend all $48 on this. It is amazing how much your skin can change with like proper skincare education and knowing how to use certain products, knowing like what those products actually do. For the past year, I've been just getting into watching more skincare videos on YouTube and really understanding like what ingredients do, the correct order to use skincare products, and like just learning more about the science behind it. So my favorite channels are Mixed Makeup by Susan Yara and Beauty Within. Those have taught me so much about skincare. But a product that I really hated because I just was not using it correctly whatsoever was the Kate Somerville Liquid Exfoliate Acid Treatment. I just don't think that I understood how easy it is to oversensitize and overstrip your skin. Especially for me, I have very sensitive skin, very like dry sensitive skin, and overexfoliation for me can be as simple as like using 2 different AHA products in one routine. I need to be careful with where I'm introducing ingredients that might sensitize me. And for the trial period where I was using this one, I would use this as my toner, and then I would go in with like a Drunk Elephant TLC Framboos Glycolic, which is like 10% glycolic acid afterwards. And I was like, oh my god, I wonder why my skin is like peeling and disgusting all the time. Wow, I wonder why. This isn't acid treatment, so it's going to be a chemical exfoliant. And I actually love how this works. It's very potent. It does a great job in like really minimizing texture, especially up here on my forehead. And if I'm using this with like proper hydration and proper ingredients afterwards, this does wonders for my skin. But I can't use this one with a bunch of other like really harsh active ingredients because it's gonna make my skin super angry. So I've started using this one again like maybe like twice or 3 times a week. I use this as my toner. For serum, I either go in with like a niacinamide type thing, finish up with a really good moisturizer, some eye cream, some lip balm, and my skin has been doing wonderful. So I've just really started enjoying this one, especially since I started using it in the correct way. For the longest time, I had a vendetta against baked highlighters. I hated baked highlighters. I still hate like baked eyeshadows. I've never tried a good baked eyeshadow palette, but like baked anything I was very much against until I tried this Makeup Revolution Skin Finish Radiance highlighter. This is a baked highlighter. I wasn't really sure how I was going to feel about it, but then, excuse me? It is the loveliest, most non-glittery, finely milled baked highlighter I've ever seen. It's just this gorgeous sheen of radiance on the skin. I think this sits so beautifully on the face. For baked products in general, I just kind of have the mental image of it like sitting on top of your skin and being very dry. But this is really lovely. This really changed my mind a lot about baked highlighters in general. So pretty. What a nice, natural, lovely glow. And with setting spray on top, chef's kiss. The Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion Concealer was like my favorite concealer for a long time. It's such a mediocre concealer, honestly. I really loved it at first. I think I was really like falling into the hype of like pro makeup artists really hyping up that concealer. I thought it just sat like nothing else on the under eyes, when in reality it didn't do anything super special. I feel like a decent standard medium coverage to full concealer. I felt like it didn't like crease a ton on the under eyes, but it also wasn't like this seamless layer of coverage. Mediocre is the only way I can describe it now. So the fact that I went from like loving it as my diehard favorite concealer to being like, yeah, it's very meh, that is a product I definitely changed my mind on. I can't believe I forgot to talk about this, but something I've recently changed my mind on is the Fresh skincare line. So I used to just think Fresh products were really mediocre, nothing special. I just didn't really understand all the hype behind them. But I actually recently got to speak to an esthetician who works for Fresh and just really understand the philosophy behind their skincare products. I'm hoping to get a facial sometime at one of their stores very soon, but I, around last year, started getting back into Fresh products and trying out some of their more like really hyped up things, especially targeted towards dry skin. So you guys know I love my Fresh Deep Hydration Rose Toner. I also really love the Black Tea Kombucha Essence. And I've also recently been trying out the Rose Petal Mask, which is like one of my favorite hydrating masks. I think a lot of their products are really, really good for dry skin. And I think one of the reasons I didn't like their brand as much was because when I first tried them out, I had not necessarily oily skin, it was just problematic, disgusting skin. So I really credit this toner for helping me a lot with like just the overall texture and like hydration levels of my skin. But I really like the mask as well, really love the essence, and the lip balms are really good too. But I'm really wanting to try a lot more things from Fresh because they're really good and I like them a lot now. One of my like former holy grail skincare products was the Sunday Riley UFO Clarifying Facial Oil. This is meant for people with oily skin, but I really liked this when I was struggling a lot with acne. It's a skincare oil, but it has 1.5% salicylic acid. Smells absolutely vile, but I felt like this was actually having a very good effect on my skin. Now though, there are just many other things I would reach for ahead of this, especially when it comes to salicylic acid. I feel like there's so many other like ways to use BHA that's going to be a lot more potent than a skincare oil that's going to just like sit on top of your skin. I would rather use like a good AHA BHA serum or even like a liquid exfoliating treatment. Now that I understand that you can't use like sensitizing active ingredients in every single step of your skincare routine, I like to be more picky with where I use those active ingredients, and for me, I think serum and toner tend to be the best for delivering those results. So this is no longer a skincare holy grail for me. Guys, so this video was pre-filmed, so I'm gonna talk about a product that I talked about in literally the last video that I posted. I didn't know that I would be posting those videos consecutively, so I pretty much say the exact same thing that I said in the last video about this product. So skip over this one if you want to, but the Farsali Jelly Beam Highlighter, I think this is a beautiful cream highlighter. I still like this. I think it's a really beautiful highlighter. The reason I'm including it in this video is because mine has dried out. I wanted to talk about that because I haven't seen a lot of people talking about how quickly this formula dries out. The mini at least definitely dries out a lot. I'm not sure about the bigger size because this is like because this might be like a less secure container of it. But I had this highlighter for like maybe a year, maybe less than that. And now I can still use this one. I actually use it as I would a powder highlighter. I just take a brush, dip it in there, and then apply it like I would with a powder. But it no longer functions as a cream and it's a little bit less like natural looking on the skin. So that's something I did want to mention. This was like my favorite cream highlighter, but now it's like no longer a cream. So does that count? Yeah, it does. Alright guys, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing about some products I've changed my mind on. And I don't regret having those opinions in the past. I think it's always a good and healthy thing to come on camera and just like talk about things that you maybe no longer like. It's always good to give like an updated view of like what you stand by, and a lot of these products I've definitely shifted my opinion on. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you are subscribed down below and also follow me on Instagram to see makeup looks like this posted. Sorry. And if you made it to the very end of this video, you get the bonus meme. Love you. Bye.
And I know you guys are stressed out, so I think we should try something for a moment. Everybody, take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. What even is a final exam? Let's ponder that question together. It's a test of knowledge, but really it's an exercise.